On Friday night, Bill Maher took it upon himself to question Tara Reade's allegation that Joe Biden, the presumptive Democratic nominee for president, pinned her against a wall and digitally penetrated her without her consent in 1993, while she was employed as a junior staffer at Biden's Senate office.
Maher said he felt Reade's claim was ridiculous and that it would go away, and no one would pay any attention to it, which tracks for the #MeTooSkeptic, who recently defended his pal Chris Matthews after he stepped down from MSNBC following sexual harassment allegations and mocked the former pundit's accusers.
Maher's HBO network mate John Oliver is taking Reade's allegation a bit more seriously, kicking off this week's edition of Last Week Tonight by assuring his audience that they're tracking the Reade story and will address it soon.
Now, he's denied that claim, but there are clearly big questions still to be answered here, and Tara Reade obviously deserves to be heard the way that anyone does when they make the difficult choice to come forward with allegations of this kind, allegations which should, of course, be fully investigated. And I am sure that we will talk more about this as the story unfolds, offered Oliver.
We'll keep an eye out on any further coverage from Oliver and his team of Reade's sexual assault allegation against Biden.
On a lighter note, the comic then focused on conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, who this week said he would eat his neighbor's ass if the COVID-19 pandemic continues apace.
I'll admit it, I will eat my neighbors. I'm not letting my kids die, I'm just being honest, said Jones. I'm literally looking at my neighbors now and going, am I ready to hang them up and gut them and skin them, and chop them up? And you know what, I'm ready. My daughters aren't starving to death. I'll eat your ass.
Wow, there is a lot to unpack there. Obviously, there's the ass-eating promise, but even before that, he's threatening to feed his neighbors to his daughters, which is weird enough before you consider, he also has a son. What about him, AJ? Oliver jokingly asked. Why doesn't he get to eat any human flesh? Also, Alex Jones is making plans to desperately devour his neighbors several years out while also wearing an $8,000 watch. You know, I'd maybe at least consider selling that or, I don't know, planting a garden before stooping to cannibalism.
Even by President Donald Trump's historically low standards, the town hall on reopening the nation's economy featured some astounding falsehoods on Sunday night, that he was never warned about the novel coronavirus until late January, that all 43,000 people who returned to the United States from China after the implementation of his travel ban were tested, that the American people will have a vaccine by Christmas.
But perhaps the biggest demonstrable lie told under the unblinking eyes of Abraham Lincoln was Trump's repeated insistence that, despite the mounting death toll from the coronavirus pandemic and the collapsing national economy, it's all working out.
I think it's all working out. You know, the numbers are heading in the right direction, Trump said, in response to a question about workers at meat processing plants being forced back in the job despite fears of spreading the virus. It's all working out. It's all working out. It's horrible that we have to go through it, but it's all working out.
The town hall, billed by Fox News as America Together, returning to work, and broadcast live from the memorial built to honor a president who, earlier this weekend, Trump said did less for black people than he has, was in many ways a highlight reel of the president's inadequate response to a pandemic that has claimed more than 68,000 lives, including a record 2,909 just on Thursday.
The president casually announced that the final death toll could reach 100,000 people, more than 50% higher than he told Americans only a few weeks ago. He made scientifically dubious claims about the speed and availability of a potential vaccine, throwing in a vow to be AIDS-free within 8 years. And he saved his most emotional answer for a question from a New Jersey guidance counselor who asked him to please let go of those behaviors and characteristics that do not serve you when dealing with the press.
Trump's response to that request, as best as it can be distilled, included a rambling list of supposed accomplishments unrelated to the pandemic, including increased military spending and the formation of the Space Force, as well as the assertion that not even Lincoln ever faced such mistreatment while in office.
I am greeted with a hostile press the likes of which no president has ever seen. The closest would be that gentleman right up there, Trump said, nodding at Daniel Chester French's statue of the 16th president in the temple where, as Royal Cortesas's epitaph states, the memory of Abraham Lincoln is enshrined forever.
They always said Lincoln, nobody got treated worse than Lincoln, Trump said. I believe I am treated worse.
In the days since Trump meanderingly suggested that Americans might be able to cure themselves of COVID-19 by injecting either sunlight or disinfectant into their bodies, the White House has attempted to shift the focus of its coronavirus response from public health to an economic message.
But as question after question came in from across the country about the specifics of Trump's response to a pandemic that has effectively shuttered the national economy, Trump primarily responded with boasts about past accomplishments, mini tirades about past grievances, or generalities about how the nation will win bigger than we've ever won before once the crisis abates.
You're gonna get a job where you're gonna get more money, frankly, Trump told a single mom in Alabama who said she was facing eviction and struggled to pay even the smallest bills. I've got a great feel for this stuff.
I want him to go back, yeah, I want to get our country back, Trump said, in response to a pair of questions from a teacher and student about his plan to reopen the nation's schools. We have to go back. We have to go back. And, whatever it is.
It depends on where you're coming from, Trump told a D.C. restaurateur who asked about specific protocols to keep restaurants safe. It goes up and it goes up rapidly, he added of the death toll, but subtly explained that the nation's dead are, at the very lower end of the plane.
Every desired answer, from a timeline for opening restaurants at full capacity to filling sports stadiums and college graduations, was predicated on Trump's enthusiastic prediction that we are going to have a vaccine by the end of this year.
The doctors would say, well, you shouldn't say that. I'll say what I think, Trump said, doubling down on a vaccine development schedule that would surpass even the most hysterically optimistic timelines put forward by epidemiologists for the rollout of a potential vaccine. I think we're going to have a vaccine much sooner than later. Look, a vaccine has never gone like it's gone now.
At one point, Trump marveled at the changes in everyday life as a result of the pandemic, noting the yawning distance between himself and Fox News anchors Bret Baier and Martha MacCallum. But that distance, while effective at halting the spread of the deadly coronavirus, did little to stop the spread of another pandemic, what World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus has called an infodemic.
We're not just fighting an epidemic, we're fighting an infodemic, Ghebreyesus told the Munich Security Conference on February 15, the same day as Trump's third-to-last all-day visit to one of his golf clubs. Fake news spreads faster and more easily than this virus, and is just as dangerous.